Hey there, Gus Gardner here. Just going to show you the latest that we're working on for the garden. And that is this lovely pole saw chainsaw, as you can see right there. That's on a pole. Do you see the pole there? Right there. But we've done something new to it. We've hooked the whole thing to another extension pole. And that's because even though it reaches up pretty high, it doesn't get high enough for trees like that. Those trees are pretty tall. So we're trying this out as an experiment. So I asked Professor Cornelius Birdbrain to see if he could do the invention for me. So I'm going to let him tell you about it. Squawk. Well, thank you there, Gus. I appreciate the intro. Professor Cornelius Birdbrain here, inventor extraordinaire. So, Gus wanted that chainsaw that's on a pole hooked to an even longer pole. I can't believe he wants that thing. Sounds crazy to me, but that's all right. We'll invent it anyway. So we have our extension pole, which is two poles. There's one there, and there's a second one here. Then we hooked it to the chainsaw there. Now you might say, how do you hook that? How do you plug it in? How do you turn it on when it's way up in a tree? Well, I'm glad you asked that. So what we did was, over here on the handle, I'll show you real quick. Ooh, gotta get down low for that one. Hang on a second. Hang on there. So what I did was, there's the button to turn the chainsaw on and off. And I put a strap around it, which is part of what holds the whole pole together. But that keeps the button on all the time. And you say, but then it's chainsaws on all the time. So yes, except that what I've done is plug the chainsaw in, you can see here, to this green plug. And then over here where the green plug ends, getting caught up there, I have an assistant plug these two together when I want the chainsaw on. So only when the chainsaw is up in the air next to the branch I want to cut do I have my assistant plug it in. Then the chainsaw starts up and I cut it. So that's the first part of this. The second part I'll show you is that these hose clamps, I've got 4 of them on here. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and here's 4. Now you notice I left all of this on here. This is the normal cutting head of this pole saw, but I took the saw off. That comes off easy enough. So I have all of those on there, and then the whole thing can go up in the air while it's off and get close to the branch, and then you plug it in and off comes the branch. Now you may say, but does that mean you have to hold it up in the air? The answer is no, not really. For most branches that I would cut with this, you can extend this pole out. I'll show you real quick here. Well, maybe I won't. Hang on. All right, so there it is, extended out. So I could start with that extended out like that, and that reaches way out. And that's without any other extensions. Both of these poles, this one and that one, haven't been extended at all. But if I'm standing on the ground and I've got this up in the air and it's not quite tall enough, then I can adjust this one from where I'm standing by turning this knob and then just raising the whole thing up. Now it's harder than it seems because it's pretty heavy when it's up in the air, but it is possible to adjust that. So this would slide down and give you more room. If you remember from my other video, I showed you how we put these 2 poles together, bolted them together. You can see the bolts there, and I've got 4 pipe clamps on that one with this steel angle here and another angle on the other side. So that holds the 2 poles together nicely. let's see, what else can I tell you about this? Oh yeah, there's one other thing. It's probably easier to show you than it is to tell you, so let me do that. All right, so here it is, up in the tree. I've already got it resting up there. Oops, go into focus here. I hope you can see that in the shade. So there's the saw, way up there, and it comes down and it's hooked to the pole there. And here's the rest of the pole. Now you need the pole is sitting on the ground. And the idea with this one is to adjust the pole so that it would be just long enough to cut a branch. So let's say we were going to cut that branch right there. That one that comes across there. I would just adjust the pole so that it's up high enough while the pole is sitting on the ground. And that gives me tons of control. All I have to do is sort of lean the pole onto the branch, have my assistant cut it or plug it in, and off goes the branch. So I'll show you some that we cut earlier today. And it took about 2 seconds to cut through these branches with the chainsaw. And they're pretty good sized branches, you can see. Compared to my hand, those are pretty good sized. Not huge. That's another one that's a little bit bigger even. So they've got 3 that are cut off there and a bunch more that I've already cleaned up. And those got cut off up there. So that's the idea, is to have lots of control, have an assistant with you that can plug it in and unplug it when you're done, and you are ready to go. You can cut all those branches without having to get on a big tall ladder with a saw. And so the other thing is that, see how the saw is angled up against the tree? I can always make the pole long enough so that it's angled away, so I'm not standing right under a branch when I cut it. So I'd be angled off to this way towards the camera, and the branch would fall down that way over there. Probably hit the ground way over there. So I don't have to worry about a branch hitting me on the head. So I'll show you this in action next. 2 other things I want to show you. One is that you have to be pretty darn strong to be able to lift it up and put it up the tree like that. So it's not for small people or folks that don't have the strength to do it, but if you do, it's very effective. And the second thing is that this whole thing doesn't need to be hooked together forever, because that pole saw is very handy when it's just by itself. So these pipe clamps here all come off pretty quickly if I just use a little drill with that head on it. Looks like this. So just go ahead and back it off, and there you go. That's all there is to it. So it doesn't take long at all to put it together. So next thing is we'll show in action. Oh, I think it's time to cut some limbs. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I think it's about time. What are we going to be doing?
Well, I'm not going to cut them. We got that crazy dude who goes out there and cuts those things down for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to get in trouble.
No.
We don't want to get hurt either.
No.
That's why we send that guy out there.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's the one.
let's have him cut on that tree right there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's see how that goes.
Okay.
So this is the size branch that we just cut. It's pretty big, but you can see my hand up against it. And that went through that very quickly. That's a big branch. All the way out there.